I think it does. I had a very concrete experience related to that. In the beginning of my tenure here in Pakistan, I was at an investment event in Stockholm, and actually as we were pitching for Pakistan and the opportunities, the new World Bank ranking came out and Pakistan fell one position, and we sort of felt how the interest in the room sank immediately, and it was really an uphill. And it really illustrated that despite the limitations of a ranking of this kind, it is a very well-known instrument and tool, and it does matter. And I also think it matters because the methodology is all about governance. And I think it changes the mindset of people involved in governance on looking at themselves not only managing the industry and business, but facilitating. And at best, that could also spill over into other sectors of government. Company boards that are looking at the prospect of investing, setting up a production or investing in anything major, want predictability. They want to know what the calculation for that investment, what the return of that investment will be. And in order to do that, they need to be able to predict the developments in the country over, ideally, 20 years, but at least 5 to 10 years. And this has been a problem in Pakistan since I came, that there has been a shift on almost a 6-month basis on the customs tariffs, introduction of new taxes, and it, in some cases, just turns the whole business prospect upside down. There is simply not a profit any longer. And I have seen some concrete examples of that, where we actually had to work to save the investment, not attract investment, but actually work on companies not leaving Pakistan. So I think simplicity cuts costs, transaction costs, both with the administration of these regulations as well as for the business sector itself. It makes it more overviewable, easier to understand. And I think that becomes particularly interesting when you look into how the economy of Pakistan needs to develop to encourage startups, small, medium-sized enterprises, particularly the service sector. It's the service sector today that is growing, and in the example of Sweden, that's where you have the growth of the economy. So you need regulation that is understandable and applicable for small entities. Ideally, you have actually consultancies, you have expert companies in the service sectors that are working only with a few people, or even one person working off a laptop. It must be impossible for such an entity to function within the formal economy. I think today I hear many people say that they are hesitating to actually register as a company. They work as private individuals from their house, and they're reluctant to register the company because it's too complicated, it's too cumbersome, and all this administration of the company takes away the time for actually developing the company itself and the business. Yeah, I think there is work already going on trying to digitalize tax, for example, and the tax system. I think that would be very, very welcome. And the more digitalized government becomes, the better, because that really makes it possible to do a lot of these government contacts from that desktop or laptop. And even from your house, you don't physically have to appear at different addresses and different agencies. Also to try to create one-stop shops where you could do all your errands at the same place. Yeah, but they do that, and I think they are working quite successfully, but they are limited. And ease of doing business is about everyday issues. It's about everyday contacts with local authorities or provincial authorities. And that, the Board of Investment can never replace that, but it can certainly become easier. Predictability is certainly the most important aspect, I think. And then to build an economic policy, and that shouldn't be too hard, at least the basic elements of it, that everyone can agree on. This shouldn't be too controversial, and I think across party lines it should be possible to see what are the comparative advantages of Pakistan and how can we maximize our opportunities. I also think it's important to keep the new industries and the new sectors as sort of benchmarks in this. This is not regulation for very big, very established companies to master, because they will always do so. They have huge legal departments and they know how to go about it. It's these small entities, because it's them, they are the ones that will grow the economy in a significant way. Under the umbrella of the embassy, we have a Swedish Business Council that today has 35 member companies, and it's all types. We have some that are very established since the 60s, 70s and doing very well, big ones. We have others that are very new. They are startups. They are coming here with their solutions, trying to establish themselves now. We have fresh investments, companies that are establishing themselves now. They work business to business or they work business to government. So it's a whole range. And the purpose of the Swedish Business Council is to work together and for the more established ones to maybe help. And actually just by their presence and sort of help and encourage other Swedish companies to come here and explore their opportunities. Yes, I think we already see, it's a bit bold, but I actually started to claim that we already today have a Swedish IT cluster in Pakistan. We do. We have a high number of Pakistanis graduating from Swedish universities every year. Some of them return immediately, others return a bit later. Some of them might have their first work experiences in Sweden, and many of them work within IT, they work in engineering, and they come back and they find work with the Swedish companies or elsewhere, and that's very attractive. And we have a booming IT CE sector in Sweden currently, and we are looking for development capacity everywhere, and I think that's a sector that would be interesting. And I also know that Pakistan and the government is working very hard to create an IT sector. I think there are many actors out there, there are many companies, but it hasn't really come together as an industry. But that's happening, and we want to be there and see how we can contribute and how we can benefit from this. This could be a way to broaden our economic relations in a very interesting way.